True, true. So I want to ask you another thing from outside when I see you that you are a partner in Microsoft and you came as I guess as a dev you said or as a PM and senior PM, principal PM and partner. So it looks like all success and everything is great. But I want to know about your failures because I'm sure on in this life journey, not everything was success, continuous success. So I would like to know about your failure. It can be personal or professional, and how did you came out of it? What did you learn? So if you can share some of
Sure.
your experiences.
Yeah, I have my personality can be polarizing, and I had to learn how to tone that down
Hmm.
quite a bit. And one of the best things that I did is I had a 360 evaluation done. It was after I became a manager, but you can have them even if you're not a manager.
Right.
So my executive coach did a 360 evaluation. And for those who don't know what a 360 evaluation is, it's where they do anonymous interviews. Well, it's not totally anonymous because you recommend people. I recommended, I think, like 7 or 8 people to be interviewed. These were people I used to work with, people that used to manage me, people I currently manage, my peers, and my current direct manager. And what they would do is they would go have conversations with them, but they wouldn't tell you the answers that they got from each individual. So you got this collective image of what Donovan Brown is. Words like arrogant came up, which were just heart-wrenching. Always has to be the smartest person in the room, always has to be the loudest voice in the room. There was just a lot of really hard to hear things about my personality that it was just uncomfortable to hear, but I'm so glad I did that because now I can try to be careful about that or change the way I reword something or just be quiet, right? I mean, there's so many times where I thought I was adding to the conversation because someone had had an experience and I had had the same experience, but me sharing my experience too is almost like I'm negating theirs as if mine was more important. And mine didn't really add any, but what I was trying to do was just share with you that you and I had that same experience, but it didn't come across that way. So what I learned was I had to really think about the words that I say when I speak up in meetings. How do I approach particular conversations? How do I not appear arrogant? How do I not appear self-centered and things like that? So it was a lot of personality changes that I had to make, which were really, really tough. But that 360 was amazing. Hard to read, especially the first. I've gone through 2 of them now. The first one is really, really tough to read, but it really shaped, and I think I've made some great improvements. The other mistake I made was as you become a manager, you carry authority and you can't keep treating your direct reports as peers. So you can't talk to them the same way that you used to talk to them. And it's really uncomfortable and it's really unfortunate because I've also had direct reports that are friends of mine, like that have been personal friends of mine for 20 years. But there's a time where we're on IM together, just having fun. And there's time where we're talking about work and I have to turn off and turn on some of those different behaviors. And I remember one scenario where I had a public chat. We were in Microsoft Teams and we were having a public conversation. And I was pretty upset about not getting the results I was expecting to get, just like we talked about earlier, right? I have very high expectations. I was not seeing the results I expected to get. And this conversation just devolved into almost an argument. And I didn't realize that I'm not having a heated debate with my peers anymore. That's what it felt like to me. But from their perspective, this is their skip level manager talking about this stuff. That's a scary conversation to be a part of. Especially with some of the statements that I was making on my expectations and why isn't this done? This isn't Donovan talking to his peer. This is, oh my God, my skip level manager is now upset. Like, what do we do to go make this better? And I realized in hindsight, that should not have happened in public. I am their manager and their skip level manager. I am not their peer. And everything that I say comes across with a completely different sound and a different weight than it did when I was their peer. Another example I remember once, and it dawned on me again, and I forget this quite a bit, that I'm their manager sometimes. And this is something I would encourage you to make sure you remember. I do a lot of one-on-ones with my people so I can stay in touch with them. One of my meetings had canceled, and my last one-on-one of the day, my last meeting of the day, I could have done it half an hour earlier because now I have a hole in my schedule. I ping the person on IM. I was like, hey, I'm free. If you're free, I'd love to go ahead and just do your one-on-one now. They didn't hear that as, hey, you can say no. If you're free, you're free. It was like, oh my God, he stopped eating lunch runs to his office and jumps on a call out of breath, still wiping food off his mouth. Like, what are you doing? He's like, man, I'm so sorry I missed your call. I was down. He like missed my call. I was like, I was just letting you know that if you were free, I was free. And I realized Donovan knew you did not say that. What he heard was your skip level manager said, come get on a call right now.
Yes.
And that's not what I said. So I had to remember, Donovan, you can't just ping them like you're their peer or their friend. Right. You're their manager. In some cases, their skip level manager. And that hits them a completely different way.
True. Very, very good points. Yes. So same thing I want to ask you, you gave some very good advice, and whoever is listening should keep these advice in their mind when they become manager and how to act. But I want to know